In the book of Luke, chapter 22, verse 42, Jesus cries to his Father and says, "Father, if it is your will, take this cup away from me." But he pauses, then he says, "Nevertheless, not my will, but your will be done." Now, in this moment, for me, it is constantly a reminder that there are things I can tell God to take away, and he does. But there are things that he has placed in me that I have to go through. Now, in this very scripture, it reminds us how hard it was for Jesus to die on the cross for you and for me, and how overwhelming it was for him as a human being, and him thinking of how hard it would be, how painful it would be, how everything was going to turn out. And him being God, he saw what it was like. Probably he even felt the pain, because during the night he was feeling overwhelmed by the pain, by the things that were ahead of him. But he cries out and he tells God, "If it is your will, take away this cup from me." Sometimes we go like that to God and we say, "I am tired, I am overwhelmed. It is hard working in this office. It is hard being a Kenyan. It is hard all these things. Please take this away." But we oftentimes forget to say nevertheless. We pause as God take it away, and we remain there for years. And you wonder why the same things are happening, and until you walk that path, it is not taken away from you. Why? Because when Jesus said, "Nevertheless, let your will be done, not mine," God's will was actually done. Jesus did go to the cross. Jesus was betrayed. Jesus was crucified. And before he was killed, he went through a lot of pain. He went through a lot of betrayal and all these things that he was thinking that God would take them away. And he knew that this is a path I have to undergo. Throughout his preaching, he kept saying, I will tear down this wall, this temple that has been built by man, but I will raise it up in 3 days. He understood his assignment, but when it came to the actual bit of doing it, it was so hard. And Jesus cries and says, "Abba, remove this cup from me." And that is what we do. We may be in a situation for so long, and it is painful and hard. Then we say, "God, take away this cup from me." But it is very good for you and I to exercise nevertheless. Nevertheless has so many things. Because when you are in the presence of God, when you love God, when you spend time with him, you get to understand where Jesus was coming from. Even though it is hard, nevertheless, let your will be done and not mine. Even though it is painful, nevertheless, let your will be done and not mine. Even though it is betraying, it is hard, it is as though I will always be alone. It is a lonely journey. Let's always learn to add nevertheless. Because at the end of the day, after the nevertheless, Jesus did go to the cross. Jesus did get resurrected. Jesus was glorified. And Jesus is seated at the right hand of the Father to show you that what came after the nevertheless was the will of God. And oftentimes, when we find ourselves not saying nevertheless, exercise it. Is it hard? Yes. It will be difficult, because nevertheless does not mean that you will enjoy. Nevertheless doesn't mean it won't be painful. Nevertheless doesn't mean that it won't come with loneliness and betrayal. Nevertheless doesn't mean that you will have a smooth ride. But nevertheless means there will be glory, means people will benefit from your assignment, means that you will be glorified by God, means that God will put a garment of praise and honor upon you, means that you're obeying the will of God, means that you're walking in the will of God, means that you will be seated at the right hand of the Father, means that God will say, good and faithful servant. Nevertheless is not easy, but nevertheless is worth everything. Are you stuck at that job and you're praying, God, take it away, take this cup away from me? Exercise nevertheless. Are you tired of the marriage and you're wondering if there's a solution? Nevertheless. Are you tired of the same cycle? Maybe you've been in pain for a long time and you feel like you need to quit. Add nevertheless. And after you have said nevertheless, God, let your will be done. In that ministry where it feels as though nothing is working out, in that place where you feel as though every decision you make, it is leading you to a place where you thought it was going to get better, but it is not. Nevertheless. Always add nevertheless. Because nevertheless, God takes up. When you tell God, nevertheless, not my will, but yours be done, God is excited to take it up. It's like, this is what I was waiting for. He takes it up. He shows you the way. And he's with you even in pain. Jesus went through pain, but the Father was there. Even when he said, why have you forsaken me? He still, at the end of it, said, unto you I commit my spirit. He still said it is finished. He understood his assignment. And when he resurrected, the former you could not even tell, because he was glorified and he had beauty all over him. It is hard to obey, but it is worth everything that God is taking you through, the training that God is taking you through. Let it be, nevertheless, my God, let your will be done and not mine. And I assure you that you will see the goodness of the land in this very land of the living. And people will benefit from your obedience to God. Stay blessed. Nevertheless, let the will of God be done in your life. See you next time. Bye-bye.